Okay, I have started early. Yep, this is happening. Hello. Nickelberries, you are the first, I believe, or among the first. Welcome. Thanks for joining. I'm a bit early today because normally I'm late. Hi, Gianni. How you doing? Thanks for joining us. So we're live. We're live in two places. For those unfamiliar, we're live on coinbureau clips. Welcome, and we're also live on TikTok as well. We're a multi-platform operation here at coinbureau. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. Hello, Mohammed. Hello, Trinity. Hello, James. Hello, S Fox. Hello, everyone. It's great to see you. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining. Hi, Fox. Thank you. Okay, how are we all doing? When bear suit? Oh, I'm working on it. It's just not bear suit weather at the moment. Those bear suits, I had someone look into it. Bear suits are not cheap, and obviously, this is a bear market, so we do have to take these things into account. Now, how's the quality looking? Do I look a bit red? It's quite warm in here. I did have the fan on earlier, but it does sort of interfere with the sound a bit. Bring us clarity, good chap. Georgie, I'll do my best. George L, sorry. I will do my best to bring some clarity to what's going on. Happy Friday to you. Happy Friday to everyone. And where are we joined from? From Egypt, from Australia, from Macedonia. This is wonderful. I want dip. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people feeling that in the market at the moment, isn't it? No, we're never happy, are we? We're never happy. When the markets are dumping, we want them to go up, and when they're pumping, we want them to go down. There's no satisfying us, is there? Okay, from India, from Dubai, from Australia again, from Romania. Hey, Romania, wonderful. From Stoke, hey. More Romanians, and the Philippines as well, from Birmingham. Oh yeah, Commonwealth Games. Is that today? They're kicking off in Birmingham. That's great. South Africa, when bear suit. Wow, you guys have great memories, don't you? I recall now in a previous live stream making some fairly off the cuff comments that I would eventually do one of these things in a bear costume, and you guys, you just don't forget, do you? Okay, I'm going to make a note that I need to get this. I have got the head, but frankly, I think it may be pushing the boundaries a bit. I think anyone new to crypto and watching one of these live streams and just seeing some dude with a sort of bear's head on his head going at it, I think it might turn them off crypto for good. Are the newbies ready for it? Is the question I want to know. Greetings from Poland. Greetings from Nottingham, from California, from Philadelphia. This is amazing. Bangladesh, Vietnam, Switzerland, Lithuania. Wow. I honestly think we've got every country covered. I don't remember seeing anyone watching from Bhutan. That's just a country I haven't thought about very recently. Bhutan. Does anyone know anyone in Bhutan? Is anyone watching from Bhutan? Do they even care about crypto in Bhutan? I don't know. I love you too. Thank you. Thank you all very much for joining me today on what is a nice green day in the markets, isn't it? It's looking pretty good. More Romanians. This is wonderful. Absolutely brilliant. Now, I want to ask you folks, before I carry on, how unable to connect to chat. I'm not sure why the chat is disconnected on clips. How is the quality in general, though? Am I coming through all right? Is there any lag? So basically, it may look a bit unfamiliar where I am at the moment. I am not. Chat is okay, I'm being told. I am not at the office because, as many of you will know, as any of you who've joined us a few times before will know, coinbureau's office internet is the worst internet in the whole wide world. So I am for live streaming for the foreseeable future, I'm going to be coming at you from locations with decent internet for a change. And this, I am broadcasting from the top floor of a very good friend of mine's house. I'm actually house sitting for him and his wife at the moment whilst they've gone off on an extremely nice holiday. And I must say it is a really, really lovely place. So I've, this is it. I'm in my friend's study. Actually, this is where we're sleeping as well, Katie, my fiance, and I. So yeah, so this is me for the moment, and I gather the. I wonder what's happening with the chat on Clips. I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm hoping that's going to reconnect in a minute. How are we looking on TikTok? Everyone getting a good picture, good feedback. Let's have a look. Let me see. On my end, everything is great. My people are telling me this is good. From Curacao. Wow. All good. Excellent. This is good. Okay. I hope you can hear me on Clips, even if you can't communicate with me for the time being. It is. Please try again later. Maybe if I start putting something into chat, it will work. Hello, is anyone there? Okay. Well, let's hope we get the chat back on coinbureau Clips before too very long. Thank you very much. I'm sure all you guys are looking awesome as well. And thank you so much for joining me today. As I say, it is a good day in crypto at the moment. We've had a pretty interesting couple of weeks. I'm sorry I couldn't make it last week. I was just, so much life admin last week. I just couldn't fit it in. So I thought I'd save up and do 2 weeks worth of live stream today instead. So here I am. Here we go. Let's. What should we start talking? I also want to say I know the timings of these live streams are sort of more convenient for some than they are for others. So I want to give a big shout out, basically, to anyone watching at an extremely antisocial hour of the day. So I'm thinking a lot of people on the West Coast, for example, the West Coast of America. Anyone who's got up really, is it 7 a.m. over there? Or something ungodly. So if you're on the West Coast, thank you for joining. Also, if you're in Australia, New Zealand, or anywhere in the Far East, really, thank you for staying up so late. And make sure you get a good night's sleep. I'm concerned because I'm concerned you're staying up late just to listen to me gibber on. It's very important to get enough sleep, folks. It's very good for the head. It's good for the heart. It's good for the soul. Anyhow, right. So let's. So extra points for anyone watching at an antisocial hour, and Denver 8 a.m. Good Lord. Well done, sir. Well done. It's good to have you with us. Thank you for joining. Presumably, this is a good way to start your day. I really hope so. Okay, so let's start off. Also, a big mention now. Someone sent me a message earlier saying that their grandmother was very much looking forward to today's stream and sort of watches all our live streams in general. So this is great. I am really, really pleased that we are appealing to an older demographic. So you get extra points as well if you're a grandma or a grandparent of in general watching today. It's great that crypto isn't all just millennials and Gen Zers. So 11:34 p.m. here in Australia. Okay, that's not too bad. That's not too bad, is it? I don't know. I find it very difficult to. Yeah, I want one of those world clocks, or just a row of clocks with the time, with a city written under each one, because I always get confused about time zones. Anyhow, okay. Still no luck with the getting the comments back on coinbureau Clips. I don't know why that is, guys. I gather the picture is all right, so you can hear me and see me, I think, but you just can't talk to me. So I'm sorry. Let's hope they come back soon, because I think we've got pretty good internet up here in the Eagle's Nest. Okay. So let's start off by talking about my absolute favorite topic of all, because obviously we want to look at why the crypto market has been pretty green over the last couple of days. We had 2 days of hot stats in a row. Wasn't that exciting for everyone? So first off, just the other day on Wednesday, we had our buddies at the Federal Reserve. They came out again and they jacked interest rates up by another 75 basis points. Whoop, whoop. Now, that's quite a hike, but the key takeaway from all this is that is pretty much what the market was expecting. It didn't really come as a shock to all that many people, myself included. And as you know, the market likes a bit of certainty. The market likes to be proved right. It makes it feel good about itself. So we saw a bit of a pump from that, really, in the wake of that. And obviously, I was chatting about it with some colleagues here, and we were saying, well, things aren't things are. A lot of people were speculating perhaps maybe the Fed would use this opportunity to jack it up by a full percentage point, by a full 100 bips. And I think that was certainly what a few people were thinking. But obviously, look, the Fed doesn't want to shock the market too much. And of course, we have the very good news that the Fed has now gone on holiday. The Fed has now gone for a 2-month holiday. I mean, 2 months. That's crazy if you ask me. 2 months. I don't get 2 days. So the Fed is now off on a 2-month holiday, and I hope they're all going somewhere nice. But that means no more interest rate rises until September. Lovely. That is great. That's just that's just what we need. Makes my job a bit easier as well. I don't have to just constantly watch the Fed and think about what they try and second guess what they're going to do. So yes, that is the Federal Reserve, 75 bips, jacking up interest rates a little bit more. No more rate rises until September, so the markets are going to enjoy this. And I saw a tweet from our old friend Elon Musk just a few minutes ago. He seems to think, as do many others, that inflation may now have peaked. Now, obviously, if that is the case, that is very, very good news for the long term. But I'm not getting too excited about that at the moment. Remember, we have inflation has been going absolutely crazy in the last few months. And this is obviously why the Fed has been jacking up interest rates. If inflation is shown to have peaked, then, of course, there is the distinct possibility that the Fed will eventually start bringing interest rates down again, which will obviously be good news for the markets. But folks, please don't hold your breath on that one, because I think we are, even if inflation has peaked, I think we may be a little way off rate reductions just yet. So bear that in mind. What's the other thing? The other big factor I wanted to talk about, I wanted to mention, of course, those US GDP figures. So on Wednesday, we had the Fed and its inflation figures. And then the very next day, on Thursday, we had those GDP figures from the United States, from the Bureau of Economic Activity. Is that right? I think so. The BEA. And they came out and believe it or not, minus 0.9% GDP growth. So what does this mean? Well, it means that technically, and I say this, this is an important word, technically, the US is in a recession, because the technical definition of a recession is 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. And this is now what we are seeing. But again, the markets kind of shrugged it off and have been pumping, really. I think we're living in such weird times at the moment. Now, if we are in a recession, and actually it's worth pointing out as well that it'll be officially decided whether the US is in a recession by a sort of shadowy committee somewhere. So just because the figures have come out and said that technically we're in a recession, the US is in a recession, it doesn't mean that it actually is. It doesn't mean that it officially is. And I imagine that US officials will be very, very keen to avoid any talk of being in a recession, if they possibly can, until at least after the midterms in November. So that's that. That's the GDP figures. And look, if we are in a recession, it's a pretty unique set of circumstances, isn't it? Because usually when recessions kick in, we see mass unemployment, we see firms cutting costs. Now, we are seeing quite a few firms cutting costs, especially in crypto and elsewhere, especially in tech too, but it's not universal. It's not across the board. And we have this certainly in the US, and I think elsewhere as well, this really, really strange job market, where I think in the US it's sort of 2 jobs for every single applicant. I'm a grandma from Bhutan. That you win. Congratulations, Matt Hayes, you win. It's a funny name for a grandma from Bhutan. I wouldn't thought they'd be called Matt Hayes 111, but who would have thought it? Anyhow, congratulations, Matt, grandma from Bhutan. You win today's live stream. I'm not quite sure what the prize is. I'll have to have a think. And obviously, I don't know quite how we'll get it over to you in Bhutan. It'll have to be some sort of crypto, isn't it? Okay, so that's a couple of reasons why we have basically been seeing a lot of green in the crypto markets. Now, another big reason I think that we're seeing green is also the fact that we've had good earnings reports from both Apple and Amazon. Both of those came through yesterday, if I remember rightly. And actually, Google as well reported it was slightly below expectations, Google's earnings report, but it was still pretty good. So that would suggest, now remember, of course, that Bitcoin and sort of crypto in general is very heavily correlated with tech stocks. So some good news on that front has, I think, contributed to the current market pump that we're seeing in crypto as well. So, yes, you're absolutely right. Ethereum merge narrative is strong as well. I'm going to get onto that in just a moment, because I think Ethereum and good news around the merge, or potential good news around the merge, has been really helping to drive the markets. I think ETH has very much been the market driver of late. But yeah, I think there are a few other factors sort of contributing to the sort of general sense of goodwill at the moment. We did obviously see the likes of Microsoft and Meta underperform. So they, Meta is just having pretty tough time at the moment, which doesn't make me all that sad, to be honest. So basically, what are the markets looking like? Well, at the moment, it looks like, because of this good news, because of expected news really around interest rates, and also bear in mind that if the US economy does go into recession, that could prompt the Fed to row back on those interest rate rises as well. So that's another reason why this supposedly bad news that the US economy has suffered a second consecutive quarter of negative growth. That's why that supposedly bad news can actually translate into good news for the markets. So, lots of people talking about a potential sort of late summer rally in crypto as a result. I am certainly not ruling that out. I think it's quite possible that we could see further rises from here. Lots of people talking about BTC going to 30K. That is not beyond the realms of possibility. But folks, I think there is going to be a lot of volatility over the next few weeks and months, certainly till the end of the year at the very least. So do be aware of that, folks. This is a very, very difficult environment to trade in at the moment. I know it looks really, really tempting when you see big sort of price moons like we've seen over the past couple of days. And obviously some cryptos have really done well, haven't they? I mean, look at Ethereum Classic. So yeah, I know it's very, very tempting, but folks, if you are going to try and trade these conditions, you need to be very, very careful, because it can break to the downside as well as the upside. It's very, very volatile out there at the moment, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if prices took another dip from here. So do be careful, folks. Fortunately, as a few of you have pointed out in the comments, you're actually wanting it to dip, so presumably so as you can buy that dip. So if that's what you're planning to do, be very, very careful. Now, obviously, yeah, this we've seen lots of good news around Ethereum recently. The merge still seems to be on for the 19th of September. The mainnet merge still seems to be going ahead. Haven't heard anything to the contrary about that. This is great news. We've also had some dates. I don't know if any of you saw that tweet from Kobe that he put out. We've got dates for the final 2 testnet merges before the actual mainnet merge on Ethereum. So the date of the Prater merge is, where did I get these names from? I don't know. The Prater merge, 4th of August, apparently. So that's the next Ethereum testnet merge, 4th of August, that's next Thursday, isn't it? And then Gurley is, I presume I'm pronouncing that right, Gurley is scheduled for some point between the 6th and the 12th of August. So This is good news for the actual merge itself. We still need to make sure, we still need to see those testnet merges go ahead as planned. If there are problems with those testnet merges, then ETH will almost certainly dip as a result. I don't think it will necessarily crash, but it will certainly take a dip, because that would mean that the actual merge itself could be delayed again. Now, so far, it looks like it's on course. But, folks, if the merge is delayed again, anyone who's surprised really hasn't been paying attention, okay? Because Ethereum delaying the merge is, it's a meme these days. So do be aware of that, folks. Do not pin all your hopes on the merge going ahead exactly as planned. There is still a lot that can happen between now and then. But the news certainly looks positive from where I'm sitting. And obviously, I think this is driving the rest of the market up as well. Now, let me have a look. I still can't get back to the chat on coinbureau clips. This is very, very distressing. So I'm wondering if there is anything I can do about that. Because I would love to hear from you. It's great hearing from you on TikTok, and I'm going to be answering a few of your questions a bit later on. But I would love to be hearing from you on clips as well. But I don't know what has happened to comments on that at all. But yeah, let me see what I can do. Yeah, I'm getting word that people can at least see and hear me on clips, but I don't know why you can't join. Anyhow, fingers crossed. And I will rely on you guys on TikTok to keep the questions coming as well. Okay, so excuse me. I'm gonna have a bit of water. I promise you, it is water. I know it's Friday, folks, but I'm not starting that early. Goodness me, no. Although it is a lovely day, so I think I will head out into the evening later on after this, and maybe go and allow myself just a small gin and tonic, probably more tonic than gin, but who knows. Anyhow, okay. Now, is there other good news that I wanted to talk about as well? Yes, there is, because a colleague of mine sent. I must admit, I had completely missed this. A colleague of mine sent me something just before I came on air. So, over in the US again, the House has just passed a $280 billion bill. This was yesterday, I believe, to make the US more competitive in the chip manufacturing sphere. And this is basically going to support domestic silicon chip manufacturing and R&D in the US, basically try and make it more competitive with China, which, if I'm right in thinking, is where most chip manufacturing happens at the moment. And obviously, we've seen all sorts of shenanigans from China recently with their COVID lockdowns and disrupting supply chains and all this other yada yada. So this could potentially be very good news for the US, and also I think for the wider economy, because decentralization is good. We don't want all the chips coming from one particular place, especially if that particular place is China. So what flavor chips? Barbecue beef, I believe, but I'll have to check that. It didn't really specify in the article. And what was interesting about this, that was a terrible joke, wasn't it? I'm sorry. I mean, you led me into that. You opened the gate and I just walked through it. So I'm not really apologizing for that bad joke. It's just it takes two to tango. What was interesting about this bill as well, I noticed, was that it had some pretty good cross-party support as well, which you don't often see in US politics these days. I think around 24 Republicans actually backed this bill. And if you're just joining it here for the dad jokes. Good. I'm glad I haven't disappointed you, Vince. I'm sure there'll be more to come. I'm absolutely certain of it. I feel chock full of dad jokes today. Right now, let me have a look. One of my colleagues is sending me some advice. Everything looks good when you just watch it. All right. Okay. So what else was I going to mention? Yeah, so this bill in the US basically supporting domestic barbecue beef chip manufacturing. This is, I think, it's a little bit under the radar. If it wasn't for one of my eagle-eyed colleagues who basically, I think he manages to read every single thing in the news every day. He's a machine. So big shout out to Dan there, Dan the machine. I think good news like that, basically, a lot more, even more money, $280 billion being pumped into the US economy. So that is good news as well. So that could be contributing to the rally that we're seeing at the moment. Okay. Now, so that I think is the good news. There's also just kind of crypto specific as well. A lot of people are also talking about, obviously, the harrowing last couple of months that we've seen. Obviously, all the stuff around Voyager, around Celsius, around 3AC. More about 3AC in a second. Obviously, all the bad news around that has meant and massive losses for lots and lots of people. Many are now speculating that sort of forced selling that we've seen from those liquidations, that forced selling of all sorts of assets, that may now be coming to an end. This could also be contributing to the little rally that we're seeing at the moment as well. And basically, it seems to have flushed a lot of leverage out of the market. And you guys know how I feel about leverage. I'm just going to take the opportunity again. Like, I know many of you are tempted to trade in these conditions. If you are going to do it, trade very carefully, and for goodness sake, don't trade with leverage, because I'll come and find you, and you don't want that. No. So don't trade with leverage, folks. But yes, and as if to make my point on that, a lot of speculating that a lot of that leverage, a lot of that crap money has been flushed out of crypto at the moment. I think I can believe that. I can go with that. But again, I think there is still stuff on the horizon, folks. We are still in a bear market. I haven't seen too many questions asking me whether we are out of the bear market, which is good. I think you guys are finally getting on the same page as me on that one. We are still very much in a bear market, folks. There are still a lot of headwinds that crypto has to navigate between now and when the good times come back. Do you still expect another big crash at the end of the year? I think there is a very good chance of that. Yes. Now I'm going to elaborate on that a little bit in a moment. But basically, to use that Game of Thrones quote that everyone loves, winter is coming, folks. It's going to get a lot tougher, especially in places like Europe at the moment. And I mean, all the stuff I'm reading in the British press at the moment about energy bills going through the roof. I mean, it really does make for grim reading. And I think it's going to get very, very grim across Europe as well in that regard. And obviously, the game is really going to change when the weather starts getting cold again. And I mean, Britain, we're used to sort of miserable winters, but in Europe, you guys have proper winters, I tell you. So this, I think, is kind of looming on the horizon a little bit. The macro factors that have contributed to the crypto bear market and to the bear market and pretty much everything else, they are still very much still with us, folks. There's still a war in Ukraine. There's still food price problems. There's still energy price hikes. Remember, Russia did turn on the Nord Stream pipeline again. There were people speculating that maybe they wouldn't. But as I read it, they didn't turn it on to full capacity. So places like Germany that are absolutely dependent on Russian gas and other places aren't going to be able to sort of stock up ahead of the winter. Putin is playing this one pretty well at the moment. So there's that. That is a big macro factor that is going to weigh on the markets, and we are going to feel that. So because of that, I think there is a good chance that we could see another crash towards the end of the year. I don't expect prices to keep going up from here, put it like that. The bear market is still very, very much with us. And our old friends at the SEC are on the loose as well. The SEC seems to really have the wind in its sails at the moment, because obviously you might have seen the fact that it's now going after Coinbase. There were these insider trading allegations. Again, that was a tweet from Kobe that sort of a few months ago that kind of laid that bare. And I mean, that is a really bad look for Coinbase. And Coinbase is just having an absolute nightmare at the moment. I don't know if any of you saw this bit of news about Coinbase as well, but ARK Invest, which is Cathie Wood's outfit, big institutional investor, has just dumped 1.4 million shares in Coinbase. 1.4 million coin shares have been dumped by ARK Invest at a loss. at a loss. So bear that in mind. So Coinbase is just having the most miserable year. I mean, let's face it, others are having worse. Celsius has had a worse year. Voyager Digital has had a worse year. Babel Finance has had a worse year. But Coinbase ain't having a great one. And now, of course, the SEC is coming after it over selling of unregistered securities. Now, did you guys all see this list? I think you must have seen sort of a headline flash up on some app somewhere. SEC declares a number of cryptocurrencies security. My heart did kind of leap into my mouth a little bit. And then I looked at the list. AMP, well, we did a video on AMP a while back. I have heard of AMP. Rally, Derivadex, XYO, the Rary governance token. I had heard of that. LCX, Power Ledger I was familiar with, DFX Finance, and Chromatica. Not exactly the most well-known cryptos on the market. But what I'm planning to do this weekend, folks, is we're going to look to do a video next week talking about the SEC versus Coinbase, and I'm going to look into each one of these assets, these crypto assets that the SEC is declaring a security, and try and find out exactly what it is, how it is that the SEC believes these to be securities and not others, because this is going to have really, really profound implications for the whole crypto market, folks. And this is another reason why I think we could see further price drops from here. So do be aware, the SEC is very much on the warpath. And if it is able to get, and remember, the SEC is also going up against this crypto project library as well. Now, we're expecting a verdict on that case in a couple of months' time. So what that takes us to sort of August, I guess, kind of end of September. I don't think it'll quite crash the merge party if the merge goes to plan. But that is something to really look out for, folks. The SEC is on the warpath. If it does manage to get score a victory in this case against Library, that could have implications for its case against Ripple. And basically, if the SEC manages to get these cryptos that Coinbase has listed, if it manages to get them declared as securities, then I think it could be a difficult few months ahead for the whole crypto market, because the SEC ain't our friend, folks. I'm not really sure how much this stuff the SEC is doing. Can't quite see how that is protecting investors. I think there are better ways of protecting investors. Just saying. I think the heat from the SEC that's kind of being directed at Coinbase at the moment, that is something that I'm keeping a very close eye on, and that is something. Library is a pretty cool project. I need to look into that a bit more. I think this heat from the SEC is a headwind for the crypto market. So do be aware, folks. As I say, more volatility incoming. My grandma bought one Aave. She's happy. Well done, Grandma. Extra points for you. Okay, so you get extra points if you're a grandma, if you're watching from somewhere at a very antisocial hour of the day, and you're aping in for the first time. For all I know, your grandma may have a massive portfolio already. But this is great. Crypto crossing the generational divide. Excellent. Okay, so that's a word of caution as well, folks. It's great to see the markets having a green few days, but do be aware, folks. What goes up can come down. So I am for one expecting more volatility. However, I am kind of optimistic in the short term. Again, going back to what I was saying about the merge, this seems to be so far so good on that. So. What else do I want to talk about? I saw someone asking in the comments about Celsius customers. Now, it looks like I did a video on this over on our main channel just yesterday, folks. So do check that out, because that is all the kind of latest on Celsius. Obviously, Celsius has now begun its bankruptcy filings. Basically, it looks like Celsius users, they will get their crypto back eventually, I think, but we are talking years. It looks like the way it's going to go, the way it's probably going to pan out, is that the biggest creditors, these whales who had literally millions of dollars in crypto deposited on Celsius, they will be kind of first in line to get reimbursed. And basically, the less you had, the longer you will have to wait. So, but it does look like, it does look like this will eventually happen. But I mean, 2 years by some estimates could be as long as 4 years. So, yeah. What else regarding Celsius? Yeah, it was interesting researching this Celsius video. It looks like, from what we're able to tell, and from what the evidence is, from what they've been saying at the bankruptcy filings and stuff, and from what Celsius employees have come out and said, it looks like it was just really badly run. We haven't. It doesn't seem like there's necessarily criminality been going on there. It just looks like a lot of people at the top of Celsius were complete clowns, which is sort of slightly a relief and also extremely depressing at the same time. And yeah, they have, well, whether there was any illegal activity or not, they sure as hell have a lot to answer for. It looks like, obviously, one of the big things that Celsius did was claim 1.7 million users. Now, as we've sort of dug into this, and from what other people have been saying, it looks like that figure was hugely inflated. Now, those users, obviously, you guys know how this works. Like, some people will have signed up for a Celsius account, hoping that they could, and then hoping that they would maybe not have to submit KYC. Then the whole thing to flash your passport comes up. So there'll be a lot of kind of incomplete accounts. There'll be a lot of people who just sort of got bored and wandered off and did something else. So that, I think, that 1.7 million users figure was hugely inflated. So if we can take anything out of this, folks, because again, looking at the market, this is crypto, isn't it? This is the crazy side of crypto. Sell is still there. It's at 94 at the moment. I mean, it's pumped. It's up 43% in 7 days. What? Guys, please, not financial advice, but don't buy sell, please. It's just pure speculation. There is nothing driving that. The network that issued it is going bankrupt. It is actually bankrupt. So, folks, please don't buy sell. Please don't buy sell. I know you're I know a lot of you looking to get in, maybe especially if we see another dip, but sell ain't the thing to buy, folks. It's just purely speculative. It's nothing more than that. It's as bad as buying Luna or Lunk or whatever it's called now on the way down. So, okay, so yeah, good question. How is Bitcoin up if we're in a recession? Yeah, this is the narrative. This is markets behaving in a very strange way. As I said earlier, one of the things that a recession could signal is the fact that the Federal Reserve will kind of hold off on raising interest rates anymore, because obviously the Fed doesn't want to tank the economy. The Fed doesn't really, or so the conventional wisdom goes, the Fed doesn't really want to try and push the US economy into recession. So if it is in a recession, and at the moment, remember, folks, it's only technically in a recession. The US is not officially in recession yet. If this is the case, then this could mean that those hikes in interest rates are eased off a little bit, which would be good for investors. How are you all doing? Still no luck getting the comments back from coinbureau clips. This is such a shame. You guys were on an absolute roll. Can you hear that? There are children shouting down below. I'm sorry. I don't think they have anything to. I don't think they have anything to do with this. Do you think this rally will still continue post 10th of August? I am a grandma who bought Minge coin. That's Mad Mike's favorite coin, Minge coin. He never misses an opportunity to talk about Minge coin. Well done, grandma. Again, oh, that's Matt Hazel. Matt, I'm on to you. If you're going to make more outrageous claims like that, you need to do it through another handle. You're a serial offender, Matt. Okay, so 10th of August. What's happening 10th of August? That was the I think that is when the testnet merge, the final testnet merge for Ethereum is supposed to go ahead, unless I'm missing something there as well. So like I say, I think we can still easily go down from here, folks. So be very, very careful. Will next bull market take us up to new all-time highs? Yes, Alexis, it will, but not for everything. This is a very, very important point to remember as well. And I've seen quite a few folks, quite a few wise heads on crypto Twitter recently pointing this out as well. Some coins and tokens will go to new all-time highs when the next bull market comes around. I think that's probably not going to be until late 2023, 2024 at the earliest. So do bear that in mind, folks. Some coins and tokens will go to new all-time highs, but equally, some will never get anywhere close to their all-time highs again. This is exactly what we saw happen after the last bear market. And I mean, we can still see some of them, can't we? I'm not going to name any names because I think we all know what they are, but we can still see some of them kind of kicking around the top 100. I don't know how some of them are still there. It's pretty baffling in a lot of cases. But yeah, a lot of them just kicking around, people hoping that they will pump back up again, and it's very, very unlikely. And there will be winners from this bear market, and there will be losers, folks. So when you're looking at your portfolio, be very, very careful of what they call sunk cost bias. And that's something, that's the phenomenon of you, because you've invested in it, because you have money on the table in that regard, you tend not to look at an asset objectively. You tend to think, oh no, it'll be fine. So it can be harder to make a sort of dispassionate observation about it. I urge you to do it, folks. Look through your portfolios and ask yourself, has this coin, has this token's time been and gone? Is there a better alternative on the market? Is it looking like it's going to be replaced by something else? And if you can't see a long-term bullish case for it, if it does look like its time has come, guys, you just got to let it go. You just got it. I know it's hard to sell at a loss sometimes, but sometimes you just got to take what money off the table you can. So do bear that in mind, folks. It's obviously it's a tricky decision to make, and you are the only ones who can make it. But do be aware of that, folks. Do be aware of sunk cost bias. Economists talk about it a lot, and it is a theme in investing. I myself have been guilty of it many, many times before. So yeah, if you are holding assets that really, when you think about it objectively, it's very hard to see them get back to their all-time highs. Might be best to take that money off the table, take a loss, eat the loss, take the L, and free up some liquidity for looking for something that is going to find a new all-time high. Because when the bulls come back to town, whenever that is, certainly some things are going to go to new all-time highs. Are you talking about Solana? Being a Solana holder is tough, isn't it? It's tough. It's a wild ride. Solana, yeah. So, I mean, look, Solana has so much development behind it, so much money behind it. Now, that is in itself not a reason necessarily to back a crypto project. It's only one small part of the picture. But there is a lot happening on Solana because it has got all this investing, because it has seen so much post-ICO funding. It is able to attract developers. Obviously, it's competing with other Rust projects, namely Polkadot, for developers. But look, this is Solana has a lot of development going on. It needs it. It's got a lot that needs fixing. But you look exhausted. I'm not actually. I'm not. I'm just getting old. I need to. I got crow's feet, haven't I? I'm not exhausted. Actually, I slept very, very well last night. I slept in. I usually get up around sort of 4:35 because I'm an early bird. 6:30 I woke up. 6:30 I was up and about today. Absolute layabout. But I did have a very, very good night's sleep. So I think this is just a very unflattering camera. I'm just getting on. That's all it is. Time is a cruel mistress. She certainly is. She certainly is. Yeah, still no luck getting these comments back on clips. I'm very sorry, coinbureau clips crew. I gather you can still see and hear me. I don't know what's happened to the comments. Chat disconnected. Please wait while we try to reconnect you. Come on, YouTube. Come on, sort this out. I want to hear from my friends on clips. But thank you everyone on TikTok for keeping it going. You are a handsome man. Oh, thank you very much. This is why I do it. I just need love. I just I want love from all of you. Yeah, no, I do look a bit tired, but trust me, I'm fine. I just spend too much time looking at a laptop or staring down the barrel of a camera. It ages one. So okay. We should really talk more about crypto, shouldn't we? Or do you just want to talk about how lived in I look? Don't listen to them. You just need some fillers. Botox and everything will be fine. Is that a typo, or is Botox something? Is Botox the new Botox? I don't know. I must have missed something here. Okay. So, what else? What else are we going to talk about? So, I've given you the bad news, folks. I've given you the fact that the macro environment isn't going to get better anytime soon. Good Lord! I see by the timing we've been on this for 45 minutes, guys. Time just flies. Time just flies when I'm with you. That's really gone quickly. I hope it's gone as quickly for you as it has for me. Don't worry, I'm not going away just yet. I'm just remarking that is one of the fastest 45 minutes I've ever experienced. That's great. You guys are the best. You guys it's amazing. Okay. What else did I want to talk about? Yeah, speaking of, okay, so I'm talking about Solana and this idea of post ICO. Be quiet, children. Gosh, they're loud, aren't they? I do apologize. This idea of Solana and these other projects that attract big post-ICO funding, I've made a point of this a few times to talk about, large amounts of post-ICO funding are very, very bullish indicators. And we're seeing this. I mean, a project that I really like but is struggling at the moment is obviously Harmony. Now, it had this bridge hack recently. Harmony is a great project. It's got some good tech behind it, but it just, obviously there's the talk at the moment. They've put out this proposal, haven't they, to basically mint new tokens to make good the losses from this bridge hack. And as you can imagine, that has not gone down well with a lot of people in the Harmony community and elsewhere, because it does raise a lot of very hard questions, doesn't it? But unfortunately, this is something that projects like Harmony, although they have great tech, although they are very, very good projects with excellent teams, because they haven't been able to attract as much post-ICO funding as other projects, this is unfortunately a question that they have to ask themselves. It's a really unenviable position to be in, because they want to make good these users who lost funds in the hack, but yeah, how to do it if they don't have bucket loads of VC funding? So it's a tricky one. I think that that makes my point what I'm talking about when I talk about post ICO funding. So it is something really, really important to look into, folks. And when I do a review of a project on the channel, I always point out the sort of the kind of recent funding that it's managed to attract, because it is an important indicator. It's something you really do need to pay very, very close attention to when evaluating a project. Okay, 63 new messages. Goodness me. Okay, Greece from love. Do you mean love from Greece or Greece from love? What does Greece from love mean? So many questions. Okay. Do you love from Greece? Yes. Do you have kids? No, I don't. The children making a big noise down there are fortunately nothing to do with me, as far as I know. What else? I noticed something about Cardano as well. The Vassal hard fork has been delayed slightly. I'm sure any ETH holders in the crowd can sympathize there. Let's just take a quick look at ADA. Let me refresh CoinGecko. It changes so fast, doesn't it? ADA's actually, because I noticed earlier that ADA had sort of taken a bit of a dip, but it seems to be on the way back up again. Look, folks, yeah, it's not ideal to see a hard fork delayed. It does happen a lot, but it is a much better option than sort of plowing ahead with a hard fork only for things to then go wrong. So although it's not ideal, don't get too worried about the Cardano devs pushing Vassal back a little bit. They're just trying to get it right. I mean, we've waited enough time for Cardano anyway, haven't we? So what's a little bit longer? But yeah, I actually think that's kind of a good sign in a way, because they're doing this thing right, and it's a bear market. It ain't going anywhere. So don't read too much into that, I think. Okay, what else did I want to talk about? Oh, I wanted to give you guys a podcast recommendation. So I recently discovered just a couple of days ago a podcast called Danny in the Valley. That's Danny in the Valley. As far as I know, it's on sort of all the major podcast platforms. Basically, it's a guy called Danny Fortson, who writes for the Sunday Times here in the UK, but he's actually based out on the West Coast. And it's basically a very tech-focused podcast, and he talks to some really, really interesting people in tech. And I did a bit of a binge on it on my way to and from work over the past couple of days. There are some great interviews there. There's a really, really interesting one with Jesse Powell from Kraken. Jesse Powell, just one of those, not only a real kind of crypto OG and very, very outspoken as well, but just a really, really interesting figure. And so I honestly, like, a big recommendation. Danny in the Valley is the name of the podcast. Listen to the Jesse Powell episode, because it is really, really interesting. And it goes into a little bit of Jesse's backstory, how he came to start Kraken. And he talks a little bit about, I don't know, I've talked about this on the podcast before, but when Mt. Gox was sort of going through one of its many sort of early death throes, there's this really interesting story about Jesse Powell and Roger Ver. It was Roger Ver, yeah. Roger Ver, who's obviously not, slight reputational hit of late, shall we say. But there's this really interesting story about the pair of them basically turning up, because Roger was based in Tokyo at the time. They basically turned up to help Mark Karpelès sort of try and sort out the mess at Mt. Gox HQ. And there's this great story about how on Friday night, they were closing up. They'd been sort of working hard all week, and they closed up, and Roger and Jesse were sort of like, okay, so we'll see you tomorrow, Mark. And Mark was sort of like, no, it's the weekend. Meanwhile, this exchange that he's running is just crumbling around everyone's ears. I've gone off on a complete tangent there, folks. Anyhow, it's just one of my favorite sort of early crypto stories. So what was I talking about? Goodness. Danny in the Valley, this excellent podcast. So do listen to that. Listen to the Jesse Powell episode. Also, a really interesting interview with a guy called Matthew Ball, who has written, in fact, I've got a copy of it over here. This is controversial. I don't usually get up in the middle of a live stream, do I? This is controversial. I've actually got a copy of Matthew Ball's new book here, The Metaverse. I'm swear it's by Matthew Ball. I'm not plugging my own book. The Metaverse, how it's basically going to change everything, revolutionize everything. So there's a really interesting interview with this guy, with Matthew Ball, on that Danny in the Valley podcast. It's one of the more recent episodes. I think it's only a few days old. And also a very interesting interview. The other one I listened to was a guy, Avitash Rugabor, who is running Arrival, this very interesting kind of electric car and van setup, which, depending on who you believe, is the next big thing or is just burning through cash. But so 3 really, really interesting episodes there. And I remember scrolling through, there's lots of good content on that podcast. So I've been sort of binging on that over the past few days. Danny in the Valley is the name of the podcast. Do check it out. It's very, very interesting indeed. Okay. Books and 90s, says Grandma. Books. God, does anyone still read books? I read books, folks. It's very, very important to keep reading books. Do you know what? I find it much easier to retain information I've read in a book. And that's why I'm always banging on about various crypto books. And I am going to do an updated episode, I think, maybe here on Clips, or maybe on our main channel as well. I'm going to do an updated episode about some awesome crypto books to read, because I find that seeing it on the printed page it just helps it go into my brain a lot easier. I think the statistics about it, so it must be true, that stuff you read on a screen is harder to take on board. So do bear that in mind. It's pronounced books. Yes, books. Reading books makes you look tired. That's it. I've strained my eye. Yeah, we're there. Well, it's a small price to pay, folks, for all the amazing alpha that is contained within those books. So Can you recap what you were saying about the SEC going after crypto? Yes, I think this is worth talking about again, worth mentioning. So I'm also a shameless plug for next week's video. As I said, I'm going to be doing a video on the SEC versus Coinbase, looking at the assets that the SEC has deemed securities and why and what this could mean for other cryptos out there. This, I know I say this at the beginning of every video, folks. This is going to be one you don't want to miss. A very important alpha next week. Yeah, basically the SEC has really seems full of confidence at the moment. It's going after this crypto project library. It's obviously been going after Ripple since sort of the late Cretaceous period. And it's obviously, excuse me, declared these other 9 assets that Coinbase listed, declared them as securities. And like I say, folks, I think the SEC is a big sort of potential landmine for the crypto market at the moment. And it's one of the reasons why I'm being very, very cautious about investing at the moment, folks. I am planning to pick up a bit of ST ETH over the weekend. That's something I wanted to mention as well. I'm not going to go huge. I'm not going to go in big time, but I think some ST ETH is a good merge trade. Obviously, ETH makes up a really big proportion of my portfolio, and I think I'm going to add some. I've got a bit of ST ETH already. I'm going to add a bit more, but yeah, that's basically that's a merge play. The other ones to watch are of it now. Of course, the interesting thing about all this news around the merge is obviously we've seen Ethereum pump. Ethereum's had a really good past couple of weeks, but we've also seen the likes of Ethereum Classic go. I mean, Ethereum Classic has gone even crazier. A lot of people asking, why that is. Well, basically, obviously, as you may know, the merge is all about Ethereum moving from proof of work to proof of stake. Now, Ethereum Classic, ETC, is still a proof of stake network. So the big question is, what are all these Ethereum miners going to do with all their expensive Ethereum mining machines once Ethereum is proof of stake? Those machines will be useless. So the speculation is, and I think it's well founded, that a lot of that hash power, a lot of those miners will switch their Ethereum mining machines over to mine Ethereum Classic. Now, obviously, more hash power joining Ethereum Classic's proof of work network means more security for that network. This is basically why Ethereum Classic is pumping so hard on news of the merge. And of course, we had this thing the other day, didn't we? We had Vitalik stirring things up a little bit, as he likes to do. He was actually quite complimentary about Ethereum Classic, wasn't he? You've got to hand it to Vitalik. I mean, I don't know if any of you heard the podcast episode I did with Mad Mike, where I talked about the whole, the DAO hack and this hard fork that basically led to the creation of Ethereum Classic. If I was someone who'd been involved with Ethereum around that time, just the mention of Ethereum Classic would be enough to bring me out in hives. So I got to hand it to Vitalik, for him just to be able to talk about Ethereum Classic without breaking down and crying, I think is good. Anyhow, that's the reason why Ethereum Classic is pumping an awful lot. Again, be careful, folks, because there isn't anything like the development on Ethereum Classic that there is on Ethereum, obviously. I also noted a while back, I think I pointed this out in a video not long ago, Ethereum Classic, there doesn't seem to have been much in the way of Twitter activity from it recently. I'm not really sure how much development is happening there. I mean, it looks like there might be more if there's going to be more machines mining it once Ethereum moves to proof of stake. But yeah, that's basically the reason why we're seeing ETC pump so much. We bought ETC at... it's Matt Hayes again. Matt, how do I keep seeing your comment? Matt Hayes, the rogue grandma. I bought ETC at 400. Okay, what's it at now? Okay, yeah, I'm... Okay, it's at 40, so that's down quite a lot. Matt, if that's true, I'm... Greece from Greece. Interesting. When do you think it will happen, that merge? Well, as I said, it looks like it's on track still for the 19th of September. That is the date we have been, I wouldn't say promised, but that is the date that's been alluded to. And as I said, but the things to watch at the moment are these testnet merges, which are coming up 4th of August 4th, Does anyone remember that End of Days film? I don't know why. Arnold Schwarzenegger. The 4th of August is End of Days in that really bad film. I don't know why I remember that. Off topic. And then there's the Girly testnet merge. Girly was sometime between the 6th and the 12th of August. So those are the ones. Keep an eye on those testnet merges before you worry about the actual merge, folks, because if they both go to plan, if not, so do bear that in mind. Obviously, we're seeing things like LDO pumping as well. That's because of Lido. That is the biggest single staker of ETH on the Beacon chain. So we've got all these kind of Ethereum affiliated tokens, if you like, that are also pumping as well. And obviously, we've seen a lot of pumping from DeFi over the past few weeks as well. Someone's grandmother who bought that's the date when they will tell you the new date. I'm not ruling it out. I'm not ruling it out. That could, September the 19th could indeed be the day that we get a new date for the merge. Goodness me, we're a cynical bunch, aren't we? We've obviously all been in crypto for too long. Okay, right. What else did I want to talk about? Again, I'm so sorry, coinbureau Clips, that your comments still aren't coming through. I'm going to take this to the highest level. I'm going to write to YouTube. But I gather, apart from that, I think we've had an uninterrupted stream. Can my colleagues, can any of my colleagues who are watching just sort of ping me a quick note and say you're coming through fine, Guy? We haven't had any issues. You still look great. Everything is awesome. There we are. That's from my God, no issues at all. Okay, well, I'm glad I'm still coming through, folks. I'm just really sorry that the comments on Clips just don't seem to be loading. It's just displaying a whole load of hi from all these wonderful places. So I'm sorry. We'll get that fixed for next time. I also noticed that James Martin, is tuning in from Glasgow. My new in-laws are from Glasgow. So that's interesting, Guy. Please tell us more. You're coming through fine, Guy. You still look tired. I don't worry. I don't feel tired. I don't think it's the best lighting in here either. What was the book I was talking about? The Metaverse. Have you been to Ireland? Yes, I went on a surfing stag weekend. That's the book, by the way, folks. I've just sort of skimmed through it. I haven't had a chance to sort of fully read through it, although I do talk about it a bit because this is where the Time magazine cover story that I think is about to come out, if it's not already out. This book is where that cover story is from. It's a very, very interesting article. And actually, I've got a podcast episode coming out, if it's not out already, Mad Mike and I having an episode where we just discuss the metaverse, because that's what Mike wanted to talk about. So that's that. Are people asking Sol or Matic? Well, all I'll say is I've got a Matic update coming out next week. That's one of the things we're working on over the weekend. So there's a lot been going on there recently. Hi from Egypt. Welcome. Hi, Guy. I come over from coinbureau Clips. Welcome. Yes. So, folks, if you are watching on coinbureau Clips and you're wondering why I'm not engaging with your no doubt delightful comments, it's that I'm literally just not getting anything on the comment side. Like it's saying chat disconnected. Maybe I was just giving too much alpha. I don't know. So I don't know. Yes, I'm sorry about that, folks. But you can always head across to our TikTok as well if you're not too terrified by the idea of TikTok, and you can join us there. Hi from Melbourne. It's very late in Melbourne, isn't it? Goodness me. Yes, no chat available on YouTube. I don't know why. Anyhow, let's move on. Let's move on from YouTube's failings, which are legion. What else was I? What did I want? Oh, someone was asking if I'd been to Ireland. Yes, I went on a bachelor party, a stag weekend, to the Dingle Peninsula, and we went surfing, and it was lovely. It was cold. It was really, really cold. I should point out as well before people are like, "Oh, Guy, are you a surfer?" No, I'm a terrible surfer. I basically just spent my whole time not even wiping out. I didn't even wipe out. I was just crap. I just couldn't get on the board. So What again? Wandering right off topic. The other thing, another thing I want to talk about. Did anyone? Hi from Newcastle upon Tyne. Why? I? Hello there. The other things I want to talk about. Did anyone see that Bloomberg interview with those guys from Celsius? I mean, wow, that was only 2 houses in Singapore. My heart bleeds for you guys. That was terrible. Did they not see the Prince Andrew interview from a couple of years ago? Do they not know how this works? Like, if you've done something really bad, if you've really screwed up, and you do an interview for the first time to talk about it, you're supposed to say sorry. You're supposed to sound contrite. You're not supposed to moan on about how you could only afford 2 houses in Singapore. I don't care if you bike to work. Everyone bikes to work. Yeah. Anyhow, yes. Anyhow, that was that. What else did I want to mention as well? Oh, not Celsius. The 3AC interview, 3 Arrows Capital interview. I'm sorry, not Celsius. I do apologize. I'm getting it all mixed up. Yes, the interview with the guys from 3 Arrows Capital, I should say, on Bloomberg. That was not a good look. Almost as bad a look as accidentally pinning it on the guys from Celsius. But I would very much like to read an interview with the guys from Celsius, because they sure have a lot to explain, don't they? What else did I want to talk about as well? I saw there are a few items of news that caught my eye. The Federal Trading Commission is suing Meta to stop it from monopolizing the metaverse. Meta doing what Meta does and just buying up everything in sight. Trying to buy a VR firm called Within and a VR fitness app called Supernatural. And it was basically, this has been kind of shot down by the FTC, saying that it's basically make Facebook too dominant in the metaverse. That is good news, folks. I do not want to live in Mark Zuckerberg's metaverse future. Yes, go away, Meta. Yes. Yeah, folks, I know this is tough for those of you. Yeah, that yacht was insane. What was it they said about the yacht? Oh, the yacht wasn't paid for or something like that. Just absolutely tone deaf. Crazy. Okay. Right. What else did I want to talk about? What is the time? Goodness me, it's flying by. It just gone 4 o'clock. Okay. Let me see if there are any other things. Yeah, but the houses are paid off. That's good news, isn't it? Good news for those. Oh goodness. I also saw as well, someone mentioned, it looks like South Korean prosecutors are really coming down on Daniel Shin and Do Kwon, obviously the guys who co-founded Terra. I think it looks like it might be catching up with those guys, which is again good news, because they have a lot to answer for as well. Now, was there anything else I wanted to talk about in particular? I'll just give you before I head off, before I let you guys go off and enjoy your weekend, I just wanted to give my thoughts on the market one more time before I left you. So obviously we've seen a nice little pump over the last few days. There was a lot of uncertainty surrounding these figures that came out. First, we had the Federal Reserve's interest rate hike back on Wednesday, and then we were also all waiting for the GDP figures yesterday. Now, those came in pretty much on expectations, so that is one reason why the markets seem to have rallied on the news, although it was really, especially with the GDP figures, it was just impossible to say which way that was going to go. I think they could have quite easily crashed the market as well, because obviously those GDP figures did show a second consecutive quarter of negative economic growth in the US of A, which means that the US of A is technically in a recession, but not officially in a recession. So do bear that in mind, folks. The reason for that is the reason why that seemed to be good for the markets is it looks to me like investors are expecting the Federal Reserve to hold back on raising interest rates that much further when they get back from their holiday in September. Remember, folks, that the Fed have all poodled off on holiday for 2 months. The Fed get 2 months holiday. I mean, I guess they all have kids. I don't know. You guys in the States get very long summer holidays. Is that right? I mean, we do get quite a long summer holiday here. Anyhow, so that's my thoughts on the market, folks. Interest rates, the rise in interest rates, 75 basis points was within expectations. There were no nasty shocks for the market there. So the market, I think, has rallied on that news. The Fed managing expectations, not trying to do anything too crazy before they all go off on holiday. There's also the news that some are sort of cautiously stating now that maybe inflation has peaked. I am going to want to see some solid evidence of that before I get too excited. If inflation has peaked, that means that interest rates will eventually start coming down. But again, I'm not holding my breath, folks, and neither should you. These things move quite slowly. And obviously, the fact that the Fed is now on holiday means we're not going to see an interest rate rise until September. So everyone just breathe, enjoy your August. Okay. Other good news around the market, I think, was good earnings reports from Amazon and Apple. Google's wasn't too bad either. So that obviously, remember that crypto is pretty correlated with tech stocks at the moment. That has driven the market higher a bit as well. And also, we've got good news, more positive news around Ethereum and the merge. That still seems at the moment to be going ahead. And as one of my colleagues also pointed out, this business of the House, the US House of Representatives, just passed a $280 billion. It's all billions these days, isn't it? I don't think they even deal in millions anymore. A $280 billion bill to make the US more competitive in the manufacturing of silicon chips, semiconductors. So that's a lot more money being pumped into the US economy. And as I said, what was interesting about that was that it went through pretty comfortably. It had 24 Republicans backing it, and as I pointed out earlier, you don't see that very often. So yeah, that is a lot of dough. You are right, sir. You are right. ETC pump is interesting. ETH miners migrating over, trying to make something work so they can keep on. Yeah, as I say, the ETC pump is very much off the back of on the assumption rather that Ethereum miners are going to migrate over to Ethereum Classic once Ethereum becomes proof of stake, because obviously there will be no more call for proof of work mining then. Been loving the podcast with you and Mike. You're a legend, guy. Oh, thank you very much, Crypto Danny. I appreciate that. Well, new episode coming out for you. And actually, I've got some exciting news regarding the podcast. I think I can let you folks know this now. So obviously, we signed the podcast deal with iHeart a while ago, and that we've been putting out basically audio recordings of our YouTube videos. Thank you. We've been putting out audio recordings of our YouTube videos as podcast episodes prior to that deal with iHeart. And we are actually now going to be starting doing that again. So from the not too distant future, I'm hoping to get that up and running for next week if I can. But we're going to be putting out an extra episode every week of the Coin Bureau podcast. And we're going to be going back to those audio recordings of our videos. Now, we're not going to be able to put the audio recording of every single video we do, but basically how it's going to work for the time being is that I'm going to choose two of my favorite videos from each week. We're going to splice them together into a sort of 45 minute episode. I'll do a little kind of introduction to each episode as well. And we're going to put those out, so you'll be able to listen to the audio tracks of some of our YouTube videos as a podcast episode. Like I say, hopefully from next week. That's what I'm aiming for. I've got to do a little bit more work to get it all set up, but that's what we are aiming to do. iHeart have given us the go-ahead for that. So very, very exciting news. So more podcast episodes coming your way, folks. And obviously, I'm going to carry on sitting down and chatting with Mad Mike and trying to just crack through into that brain of his. And hi, Guy. I always watch your content. Thank you very much. Tickety tocky. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much for joining me for a live stream today. Apologies that I didn't have one for you last week. As I say, I was just absolutely up to my neck in trying to organize my life and the upcoming wedding. And I went and saw my in-laws, which was lovely. We love Mad Mike. I love Mad Mike too. Do you know he just got married? he got married just a couple of weeks ago. And I went along to his wedding, and it was kind of wild. It wasn't too wild, actually, but it was good fun. So congratulations, Mad Mike. What a guy. And I will pass on your all your congratulations to him as well. Okay, so that is another live stream, guys. It's Friday afternoon here in the UK. It's about time I think I sloped off and had myself a refreshing gin and tonic somewhere. What have you guys all got planned for the weekend? I hope you're all well. I hope you're not going to be watching the crypto markets too much. It is an interesting time, folks. There's lots going on in the charts as well. But remember, folks, it's the weekend. Go out and enjoy yourselves. Go out and get some fresh air. Go out and hang out with your friends and family. Don't spend too much time staring at the markets. They'll still be there on Monday. Life goes first. Business comes later. Heaps of uni study. Well, yeah, of course. Some people, not everyone has the weekend off. I've got lots of stuff to do as well. I'm going to be writing up making some notes for the next podcast episode on Sunday. I've got a bit of research to do and stuff tomorrow. I am going to go on a nice walk along the river in East London. I'm going to walk along the River Lee with some friends tomorrow. maybe stop in at a couple of pubs. I don't know. Who can say? So that's my plans for the weekend. A bit of work, but plenty of pleasure as well. Plenty of just getting out and enjoying the fresh air. So that is my recommendation for you folks. There's some good alpha to take you into the weekend. Enjoy. I will yell at Bitcoin charts. Don't. There'll be plenty of other people yelling at the Bitcoin charts. Leave them to do it. You guys go out and enjoy your weekend. So yeah, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to love you and leave you, folks. Let's just take a quick look at prices before I head off. Everything is great. Hey, it's above 24. BTC is above 24. That's great, isn't it? I was wondering whether it was going to crack that whilst we were on the stream, and it has. I can't help but think we are all kind of responsible. Anyway, folks, like I say, lots more volatility out there. If you are going to trade these conditions, tread carefully. What goes up can come down. There is volatility. These prices are not going to keep going up forever. Celebrate the small victories. Exactly, Benjamin. Exactly. Celebrate the small victories. Trade with caution, folks. Don't trade with leverage. And look, if in doubt, don't trade at all. Get out and enjoy your weekend. Anyhow, Bitcoin's above 24K. Everything's all right. I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for joining. Adios, and have a wonderful weekend. And once again, I'm sorry, folks, on clips. Your comments just still aren't coming through. I can't connect to chat. I will fix that for next time so that I can enjoy all your comments as well. But thank you, everyone, on TikTok as well. Thank you, Clips. Thank you for joining. Have a splendid weekend, everyone. Adios. Hasta la vista. Goodbye. Okay. And goodbye, everyone on TikTok. Ciao.